Welcome back to another podcast of Road to Abundance. This week we have Bart Miller, is also known as the Billion Dollar Cowboy. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Oh man, I've been looking so forward to this. I did a cold plunge just before I got on here because I was so excited. I wanted my energy to be so high that I could meet yours. So thanks for having me.
Ah, man, talking about cold plunge, I miss mine. There's some electricity problem in the house, and every time I plug it somewhere, it shortcut the whole thing. So I cannot take my cold plunge. So I'm taking cold shower, but we all know how cold it is in Florida. Not so cold. Man, I'm happy to have you. And
Thank you.
actually, guys, Bart is doing a lot of thing. I met him like 2 weeks ago. We hopped on a call. We connected through a mutual friend, and I was like, damn, you're really what abundance means for me. Like, you check all the boxes for the four pillar. As you guys know, for me it's wealth, health, relationship, and happiness. And Bart has it all, and he does a lot of stuff. So I'll let him introduce himself. What do you do for work, and what's your current situation? And then we'll go back to the origin story.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What do I do for work? I ask my wife that all the time, and she says all I do is play. So I don't know, but no, for reals, I get the honor and the privilege to be an amazing internet marketer. I get to coach a lot of internet marketers on the wealth end of it, right? So what you just talked about, I've been privileged to be married now for basically 30 years to an amazing woman, and she runs the back end of the company. We have four amazing kids. And yeah, I just love all your principles. So I can hardly wait to dive into some of this content. It's going to be so exciting.
Yeah, man, happy to have you. And guys, as you probably noticed, there's something in his language pattern that is very interesting because he used the word privilege. I'm privileged to be married, so it's super cool to hear that. Amazing kid, amazing employee. So I like that from the get go. You're talking very positively, and we all know that using word in order to describe your life will also describe the way that you feel about it. So if you feel like, let's say, marriage is a prison or whatever, or you're like, oh, I'm married, it's, and if you talk about it like that with that intention, but Bart used the word privilege. I like that. That's really cool, man. That's the good way to start the podcast. So obviously now you're probably chapter 20 of your life. You made it. You have an amazing network, family, kids. Like, life is rolling. But take me back to the origin story. When this all happened for you, when this all shifted, tell me a little bit of your failure and all that stuff. Kind of take me through where you want to now.
Man, I don't like to revisit all that, but I will for you. How's that? It's like some of that kind of stuff I try to just absolutely, I don't know, mentally get rid of it because it was very, very dramatic for me, to be honest with you. So I'll start in some basic stuff and I'll move up. So when I was basically 10 years old, I decided to run away because my parents were getting a divorce. I won't get into all of that. So, as every young man does, I yelled down to my mother and told her I was running away because that's what you do. So, before that, yeah, you always have to announce to everybody that you're running away, right? You don't just run away. So, anyway,
Yeah.
at that age, I decided to run away. Beforehand, before I decided to run away, I called a cop. And the reason I knew this cop was he was a local cop and I'd met him before. And anyway, so I called him up and I told him I was running away and he told me he would meet me. Thank God. Anyway, I was in a little town. It was snowing. It was cold. I told my mom I was running away and I did that. Well, like a great mom, my mom came looking for me, crying, yelling. But I knew at that point in time, I couldn't get back in that car. I had to wait for that cop. And I sat there and I froze. And long story short, the officer came and got me, took me to his house. And my father came and got me. And so I was raised without my siblings and raised by my grandmother in a very, very small community. And in that little house that we were in, there was no heat in the bedrooms, only in a central room, which had linoleum floors. And in there was a coal furnace. And that coal furnace is what kept the house warm. And we had a working out house at that point in time. So I wouldn't say we were very abundant, but we had what we needed. And my grandmother was absolutely amazing. So she would go in every night, turn on an electric blanket. And that's how I kept warm at night. And then every morning, I was required to get up and feed the cows, feed the horses, and do all the chores. But when I came in, I always had a warm breakfast, a warm meal from my grandmother. And if you tried to step foot in her kitchen, she'd beat your little ass until you couldn't walk. That was her territory, and my territory was out in the and the other stuff. So that's where life started for me as an entrepreneur, but it taught me a lot of really cool disciplines. And I learned a principle. Do you mind if I share something on a principle I learned?
Go
You
ahead.
comfortable with that?
Yeah,
This
for
is the
sure.
number one principle I run my life on. And if you ever hear me speak on stage, it's the one thing I believe that has changed so many things for me. And it was this. If I ask you, anybody out listening to the call right now, I want you to put yourself in this mindset. If I ask you right now to bake a set of brownies from scratch, could you do it? And some of you are going to say, yeah, I got this. And you're awesome. That's cool. I'm glad you can do it. I couldn't, you know. But then I'm going to ask you this question. If I gave you a recipe to bake a batch of brownies, could you do it? And
Yeah.
99% of you are going to say, heck yeah, I got this. But here's where the real principle comes in, okay? Here's where the mic drop is. Does the batch of brownies or the recipe that you're going to follow care what ethnicity you are?
No, for sure not.
No. It doesn't care if we're Hispanic, doesn't care if we're white, it doesn't care. Does it care if you're male or female? No, it doesn't care. Does it really care if you're rich or if you're poor? It doesn't care. All it cares is if you follow it. And I was like, I can follow recipes. I'm
Hmm.
really good. So all I needed to do in life was find the people who had the recipe that I wanted to follow it, and abundance was mine. So I came from a very, very poor background, but I found a man that had the recipe I was looking for, and he was in real estate and in construction. So I started mentoring him. I did it for free. I just went with him everywhere. I became his driver, did this, did that, and it changed my entire abundance mindset. I saw it was possible for me. He taught me the recipe. I started to implement that, started other companies, sold those companies, built up. Then I lost everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything and then some. And I found myself laying in a bed one day with a gun next to me, and I was done. And that
And what do
day,
you feel like what do you feel that you arrived to that moment from having it all to that specific moment?
good question. Why I felt like that happened is because obviously the universe needed to teach me a lesson. At that point, I didn't agree with that. I couldn't have told you. I was like, oh my God, like, why me? You know, I had a huge business going and so many things. And it's a long story how we got there. But anyway, the universe needed to show me that I could trust the universe, and that hard times are where things become better, not worse. And I remember laying there with that gun, and there was a moment, and this is a really critical moment for some of us, but for me, it was a pivotal moment. And I grabbed that gun, and I was sitting there, and I heard this voice, and it said, "You know what? You hire coaches to push you to your limits," which is true. Man, if I hired you, I expect you that you're gonna drive me to get to where I want to be. You know, that's what I want. You know, that's what I want in a coach,
Yeah.
right? But then I heard God or universe say to me, but when I put you through a trial, you're mad and you're angry at me. When I push you to your max, you want to quit. And I was like, what? I'm not a quitter. I'm not quitting on you, universe. I'm not quitting on you, God. Forget this shit. Man, I tossed that gun. I got out of bed and I was like, what am I going to do next? And that's when I went to my first Tony Robbins, Chet Holmes, Business Mastery, first one they ever put on. And I really got after it. And that's when I started getting back in, and I really started internet marketing. And that's kind of a story in itself. But I left the reformulated fuel lubrication business, jumped in that business, been here now for 20 years, been super blessed, as you can see in that, rebuilt my wealth, and just really worked on my mind, my brain. Anything times things
Mm.
hit me like that, I just go back to that core thing of, what would my coach do to me? Like, if they took it all away from me today, am I mentally strong enough and feel abundant enough to crush it?
That's amazing. Yeah, I think mentor is for sure a key of your story, that you follow a recipe, and a lot of people, they can't seem to follow a recipe because they want a cake to taste the same, but it's like they gotta put their own stuff. It's like, if the I do the same comparison with, if you go see the best pastry chef that make the best souffle, chocolate souffle in
Right.
Paris, and he taught you everything. You're not gonna add vanilla, or you're not gonna add this or that. Once you master the recipe, if you want to change some stuff, go ahead. But at the beginning, just follow it, because you're not so good at what you're doing. And I live the same struggle as you, just because Same with cooking. I don't like following recipe. I put whatever I want. I check the recipe. I'm like, I'm going to modify this and that. So I was kind of doing the same in business. And at some point, it's like, if a lot of people have success doing something, maybe you should follow. And once you get a little success, once you do it, then you can start to play with certain ingredient to see if the cake change. But from the beginning, you shouldn't play with that. And that's a really cool story. And I love the point that you say having faith, because whether you believe in God and the universe and consciousness, however you want to call it, whatever religion you use to in order to give it a name, that's the one thing that for me, I never really believed in God, like Christian religion or anything like that. It just doesn't add up for me. But I know that there is something, there's a higher power. So let's call it God for today, or consciousness, but there is something, and you have to have 100% faith. And it's the 100% that for me made the difference, because before I had 99%. But as long as you have doubt on something, then life is going to show you that doubt because you ask for it. But if you start believing and having 100% faith, and every time there's a situation, what I do is I'm like, it's all going to be okay. Everything's going to be good. And human, we have the tendency, and I'm sure you can agree, to say that we're not manifesting or having whatever we want because it's not the way that we want. It's not that it's not happening. It's just not how we want it to happen. So when I give an examples, when I coach people, I'm like, okay, so let's say you're with a girl right now and you keep manifesting the best relationship ever, the best partner ever, the best this and that. You think that it's with Emily, but the universe know it's with Stephanie. So they're going to cause a breakup right here so that you work on yourself, and then you end up in that amazing relationship that you keep manifesting. But during the breakup, your heart is shattered. You're like, this can't be true. And then you're trying to deny it, and you don't have faith that, and there's often picture online that God takes the little, like toy from a kid with a big one behind his back. And it's like, trust that what I have is going to be better, but you have to let go. And I feel like that's what kind of you did. It's like, you lost everything, so you had no choice to let it go. But it's like you just started to trust that, hey, now I'm rock bottom. There's only a way up from that moment. And you just took that step, and you didn't blame yourself. You didn't self-pity. You just were like, what is the next action? And what should I learn from this? So it's beautiful, beautiful story.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
And
one of those things. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that I think that when we're baking our recipes, sometimes we're wanting to bake a cake, and we go hire somebody that has a brownie recipe, but wanting to bake a cake, and that doesn't work, right? If you want the brownies, you've got to bake brownies. If you want a cake, you need to find the recipe that works for you. And that's where I was super blessed is that I really only went for what I truly wanted, which was that recipe, that formula. And then I just repeated that time and time again in
Damn.
life. And that's what you're talking about is and I also love the analogy of, like you said, the universe, God, whatever, is always prepping you if you will allow it for something better. But if you're
Mhm.
always in a pity party, then you'll never get there, and it's like you'll never understand. And so I always say there's a shadow side inside of us that wants to have that pity party, and it's like the little gremlin, if you've seen the show Gremlins. And the more you feed that shadow side, what happens? It gets to become the cookie monster. It's so big, it just overwhelms our minds to where it
Mhm.
defeats us, versus we calm that little gremlin and he'll stay little. Not that we need to get rid of him, we don't want to. Like, it's okay, it's part of us, but just don't feed that. Feed the other
Yeah.
side, and man, miracles happen, which is awesome. And I love that you brought that up in the relationship analogy. That was so awesome.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. And we can all agree that everybody had events. Some people could have worse event. Some people could have had traumatic event. Like for you, it was a divorce. For some people, there's assault, sexual assault, or whatever it is. But the thing
Right.
is, there's no point talking about it if you're not going to do something about it. Like we understand that it's painful, but nobody gives a fuck. And that's the reality. You're not going to get a job because you're like, I got this happen when I was a kid. Nobody cares. So now are you going to do something about it and use that story to fuel your next venture and learn? Because I believe that whatever we happen in this reality, we choose it to happen in order to cause a reaction. So either we learn the lesson no matter how painful it is, or either we keep that rock in our backpack and we just carry our whole life with it, and it's going to be so heavy. So we all have choices to do, and I don't say that it's not hard. I say that letting it go is going to be way easier than carrying that goddamn rock for the whole hike. And from that moment that you decided to get a coach and put back your life together, and now that your life is good, what do you feel was the major change that happened? Because you had success, you went bankrupt or almost suicide, and then you made it again. So what is habits or pattern or belief or stuff that you picked up along the road that for you made a major difference?
My major difference really came in the moment of I can trust the universe. And I don't like the things that I have are gifts, and I'm so grateful for them, but they're strictly gifts, and they're mine to use for as long as the universe wants me to have them. And if there's more gifts, I'm willing to take them. And yeah, I dream big and I want more of them, let's be clear. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that matters to me, and that is, am I whole? Am I okay with me? Am I okay being just me? If everything's gone again, can I still be me? And that's where I keep praying that I alleviate fear. I alleviate the fear and the anxiety that I could lose it again. I just live in the abundance mentality of, you know what, I've got this, and there's always another way. And there's always something better for me. Like you said, that little gift is sitting there. So if I need to go through that trial again, I'm going to do it with a smile versus I'm going to lay in that bed, be depressed, be pissed off, like so frustrated, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. And how do you feel that your health has empowered your success too? I
Yeah.
know we talked about you did some competitions and stuff like that. You also like I think some are professional cyclists, or you did some
Yeah.
competition like stuff like that. So uh, how do you value your health in all that, and how does it impact your capacity to be a better entrepreneur and have more wealth?
Love that. Great question. So, I always look at it as, if I fuel my body like it's a little beetle, right? And I'm not against beetles, but I'm going to perform like a beetle. If I want to be a Ferrari, it takes high octane fuel, and I need to put high octane fuel in it. But if I go put diesel in a Ferrari, guess what happens to it? It blows it up and it destroys it. So it's your choice. If you want to be a diesel, great. They pull big load, they do a lot of stuff. Go, but understand what you're being. Understand what you want to be. For me, I wanted to be a high performer. I love high performance. I love competition. I love having fun. I am not a fun hater. Like it's one of those things I just love doing. So to do that, I'm 50 years old, but I want to act like I'm 20, 30 years old because that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I never want to walk in the room and be like, oh, that guy he can't keep up. Bullshit, man. If you want to play pickleball with me, let's go. I'll rip your head off. I'm ready to play. If you want to lift weights, let's go. Whatever it is, I'm just that guy. I love that kind of stuff and I'm all in. So for me in life, my health has always been something that I've always taken and really paid attention to because I want to perform at these levels. So I've always challenged myself. And the one thing I found in life is if you don't sign up for something, you don't do it. So when I decided to become a bodybuilder, I was a cyclist. And my son came to me and he said, Dad, I don't want to race bikes anymore. I want to be a bodybuilder. So I did all the research I could possibly do and found out who put the most people on the stage and won at Olympia, and his name was Ryan Benson, but the most physique competitors out there. So I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, what's it going to take for me to hire you?" And he goes, "Fly your butt here, get here, and let me see you." And I was like, "Okay." So I got there, and that very first day, dude. I mean, Mike, I wish I could put you in this. Like, I'll have to show you some pictures one of these days. Like, you'll laugh until you can't walk. But I get there, there's all these professional bodybuilders. This stage is like eye candy to anybody, like including me. I'm like, damn, like this is real life. And they look like this. This is amazing. I walk in, I lift with these guys that day. And at the end, Ryan says, okay, everybody take your shirts off and pose. And I'm like, hell no, I ain't taking my shirt off. Now, physical condition, I just got done riding Leadville 4 months earlier. So, I mean, 100 miles back and forth, high altitude. I mean, I was in physically great shape, but my body, I had a belly, dude. Like, I didn't look great. I was skinny. You know what I'm saying? I did not look, like, so I was like, oh man, he's not going to make me take my shirt off. So he goes to everybody, gets to me and he goes, I said, take your shirt off. And I'm like, uh, my wife's there, my kids are there. dude, I felt so embarrassed. Like I was like, so I take my shirt off. He looks at me. Everybody looks at me. I'm like, okay, total humiliation, but I was good with it. I was like, okay, it is what it is. We get done. I walk up to him and he goes, you're going to make it. 1 year from today, I can put you on a stage. I can have you a sword and we can take you to nationals if that's what you want to do. And I said, I'll tell you what, I said, I'll put everything into it. I will follow this to a T if you promise me that. But if you don't, then I'm not going to pay you a dime. He goes, done. No stress. If you'll do your end, I'll do my end. I was like, perfect. So we did. A year later, I signed up for a show in California. I did it, won my sword, won everything, and it was awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's need to be a commitment. Like that's the thing with bodybuilding, and there's two different type of like before when I competed, I was all physique and
Right?
my health was not so good. So it's important to have a balance, but it's also one thing that I like that you did is that you look yourself in the mirror. Like it's comparison is not there to make you feel bad. It's just there to give you a perspective. So the way that you emotionally react to that perspective is on you.
Amen.
So I can either look at someone that has a big business and a Ferrari and be like, he's a piece of shit, or I can be like, yo, bro, how did you do it? Let me fucking do it too. And I get inspired by the journey. So the same way as those bodybuilder, it's their work. You have to understand it. When I look at my body versus like competition body, I'm not exactly where I used to be. But the thing is, I know what's my outcome. I know what's my goal. And I don't really compare myself to
Amen.
the reason I was doing thing before. And the fact that you're able to take off your shirt and just look at the reality, like I tell when people are fat and overweight, it's okay. Like you can still love yourself on the process that you go back to healthy. You don't need to have a six pack. But the reality is, look at yourself in the mirror. And I think that you could agree that right now people are way too sensitive in order to do things like that. Like I saw a video this week. There was an influencer, an overweight girl. She said that fat people should have free seats, like free extra seat in the airplane. But like what? Like when did the world become like that? Like reward you for being lazy and eating all that trash food
Right.
and damaging your body. If it like I don't mean that you have to be on abs, but your health will help you because the reason you were able to stay on that competitive mindset and do the competition and win is because you know that you have to put sacrifice and do things for an amount of time in order to achieve a goal. Same with business, and there's seasons to life. So if it's business season right now, you might not have the perfect work balance that you want, but understand what season you're on. If I'm building a company from the ground and I want to take it to $1 million, I might cruise at $1 million for hiring employee and start like sharing my task and stuff. But at the beginning, the first year or two, you might have to put your hands in the dirt and be all in, and you're not going to have the balance that you wish. Same thing with the competition. For the time being, you sacrificed some pleasure, some stuff, but you knew what was the end goal and you enjoy the journey while you reach it. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I agree with you. And I think actions speak louder than words. And I think our word and our commitment is everything. So when I committed to that coach, I gave him my word and my handshake. That to me is everything, right? So in everything I do, actions speak louder than words. And that's why I'm very accountable to the things I do and what I say I'm going to do. And, my name means a lot. When I say, Mike, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be on this, I show up. I'm early. I'm ready to take action because at the end of the day, I respect you. I honor your time. I honor who you are, so therefore, I've got to do the same so that you can have that privilege of doing that for me. And that will build an amazing
Mhm.
relationship for us in business and in life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And respecting your words start with yourself. It's like if you keep lying to yourself all the time, if you say you're gonna wake up at 6 or 7 and every day you wake up at 8, 9, now you're giving permission to disrespect yourself. So honor yourself, honor your word, and then honor other people time and word, and then it's going to be reciprocity. People will do it for you because they know that okay, he's going to show up, he's going to be there, he's going to do it, and then they take action. And now that you're 50 years old, you understand the value of health more than any other time in your life. Like the older you get, the more, I suppose, that the more proud and happy you are that you put the time in to invest in that health. So now that you're 50, you can still do all those things.
Amen. Yeah, absolutely. Like I was just showing you
And
nootropics and cold baths, and I mean, I can tell you the breath work I do. I can, all the stuff you're talking about every single day to all your audience is things I just believe in. Like I don't question it. I just do it.
that's awesome. And how do you feel like it impact right now? If you would compare yourself to other 50 years old, how do you feel that this give you an edge in business, in life, in relationship? Like, how do you see like that it impact yourself now?
It's really good. So let me tell you something that I have come to find is I'm in a relationship with my wife because I want to be in a relationship with my wife, and she wants to be in a relationship with me. We're not in a want need relationship. We're in a want relationship. Now, what I mean by that is that she doesn't need me financially. I have set her up so if she ever wants to leave my sorry ass, she can, and she's whole. She's whole. I've done the same thing for me, and she's allowed that to happen because we've always wanted to be with each other, but not have to be with each other. I see so many humans that need to be in a relationship to where they freak out no matter what. They can't be transparent. They can't tell the truth. They can't do this because, oh my God, if they left me, where would I be? I wouldn't have anything, right? They're in this panic state all the time. We've
Yeah.
designed a relationship to be in a want relationship. So if you want somebody to want you, I want to be hot as fuck. Okay. I hope I can use that language. I apologize, but I
Yeah.
want my wife to want me because I look good and I'm sexy and that I'm attractive and that it's fun to be with me. Not that I don't, not everybody needs to be that. But for me, I do want to walk down the street and some other woman to look and go, damn, honey, why don't you look like him? Like that shit turns me on. Okay. So that's my ego, right? That's okay. But at the end of the day, in relationship, I want that for myself because I want her to want me like that. And she just got off the stage 6 months ago from doing a bikini competition. Same way, she wants to be gorgeous for me too, which is why we're in a want relationship. So my health at 50 years old, I feel like is just it's just starting again. Like I'm getting ready to think about doing nationals again and doing another show because I love being in great shape. I love physically being able to go lift things and work out with my friends and younger guys and go play pickleball at a level that I probably shouldn't be, but I feel like I can because I've taken care of my joints and my bodies and my nutrition and all this stuff. And I'm going to live a life because here's another thing. Most people live for the future. I live for today. Now, what I mean by that is I'm going to retirement. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Bullshit, man. I'm doing it right now. Like, let's go. If
Yeah.
I have capacity, I'm living for today, not for tomorrow. And I don't live for tomorrow. I live for today because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So my health needs to be performing right now today so that Mike, if you call me and say, hey, Bart, we're going here and we need you to go with us. Let's go. I'm like, you want to go climb Mount Everest together? Hell yeah. Give me 2 weeks. I'm ready to go. Like I can get myself ready to go for you. Let's go, Mike. I don't have to live and go,
Yeah.
Mike, dude, give me 4 years and I'll be ready to go with you, dude.
No, I love it. And living in the present moment, I love that also it means taking care of your health now so that also you can have a future because a lot of people they're like, "Oh, I'm young, I can trash my body, I can trash my health." But don't forget that when you it's 50, you barely did 50% of your life. Now people live to 100 like
Yep.
every day. So the thing is like you don't want to live the first 50 years of trashing yourself just because you can enjoy. It's like enjoying every moment but being at the top and the peak that you can and taking care of your body. And that's beautiful. And talking about relationship with your wife, I love the analogy that you do because I do the same with my girl. It's like I don't need her, I choose her. And that's way more powerful because I used to be in toxic relationship where I needed to stay. I didn't have the money to leave, or they were toxic and I couldn't leave. And you can. It's just your mind that can't. Like once you take control of your subconscious mind, you'll be able to do whatever you want. And that's the goal in life is to be in those relationship where you choose the person. And I think you said it's been a little over 30 years now, 35 with your wife.
So so my oldest daughter's 26. So we're right. If you want precisely the number, we're at 28. So we're coming on to 30 years.
That's amazing. And what do you feel is the number one thing that kept you guys like so close together that the relationship is tight? And also, how do you feel that a woman has helped you with your career and your wealth?
Yeah. So Both big questions. So make sure I cover both of them because I think that is these are great questions. The number one thing with my wife that I had to realize is that women's intuition, so feminine energy, is critical in a business. Critical because they have such great insights. And so many times when I was younger in my relationship, I would overlook that. It was like, no, this is just what we're going to do. And she would say, I really just don't think that's the best idea. And I'd be like, yeah, but we're going. Let's go. And so having her in there and that other energy and that other perspective and be able to sit with that and say, you know what? I honor that. I honor you, and I'm going to listen to that. And and we're going to do that. The other part in the business that we did really well was we created offices. And I coach on this to my high ticket entrepreneurs that are with couples is we created our rules and our offices. I'm allowed to walk in her office and knock on the door, but I'm not allowed to make decisions in her office. That is her office and that is hers to take care of. Now, does she make mistakes? Damn right she does. Same with me though. So do I. And I forgive her for hers and she forgives me for mine. But we have our separate offices. And then when we bring other people in, we structure their office the same way. We give them power. We know that we need them and we hire A players. So that's one thing. Remind me the other question you asked. Sorry, Mike. I hope you can remember.
How do you feel like having a partner at help you improve you in business?
Yeah.
And was it that one, or now you were answering the question of how you build that amazing relationship in order to stay so long together?
Yeah. Build the relationship for staying how long together is because we're always transparent with our feelings and our emotions. And we're not like, so let's say that I'm pissed off about something. I don't just walk in, knock on the door, and overrun her with that emotion. I say, hey, is there a time that we can chat about something? And I always say this, I'm seeing this from this perspective. Are you seeing it from the same perspective? And she's like, how did you even get that perspective? Well, because of this. No, no, no. Let me explain. So I always start by asking a question or, hey, I feel this way about this. Is that true? Or am I seeing it the wrong way? I really start anytime I have like, I'm pissed. I try to start off with, hey, from my perspective, this is how I see it. What am I missing? And sometimes I'm dead on but at least I'm transparent. But most of the time it's like, no, you totally didn't know what was going on here. Let me fill you in. And it's like, oh man, I wasted all that time for no reason. So I always set up a time to have that kind of conversation. The other thing that I've done, Mike, that's made the biggest difference is every day I send a text to her saying something. Now, what I mean by that is it'll be a text of, man, I just want you to know those spandex that you have on today make your ass look amazing. I mean, hot as hell. So grateful. Another text might be just like the other night, honey, I just want you to know how powerful it was to watch our Xander, our 13-year-old boy, get in the cold plunge for the first time and how he was suffering, but you stood there and suffered with him and you loved him, but you were there to be a courageous mom and help him through stuff. And it meant so much to me to watch that and watch how powerful you are with our kids. Thank you for being that woman in our life. So the texts vary, but every day I try to find something that she knows I'm paying attention. She knows that I'm
Yeah.
engaged, and that's the things I try to do. And I do that every day, like literally I'll send her a photo that I'm at the gym, just thinking of her, whatever it might be, but I make sure that she's on my mind throughout the day.
That's beautiful. And that's what a lot of people forget. Like, we date our partner at the beginning, and then after a little while we don't date them anymore. It's like we are accustomed to their presence and we don't make them feel valued or respected. And I really love the perception thing, because I had a call with a client this morning, and we don't live the reality that is happening. We live the reality that we focus on based on their past experience and our belief. So for the same situation, it's totally true. You'll see it a certain way and I'll see it a certain way. It could be from, you cancel a dinner with me as a friend and I see it as abandonment because all my other friend abandoned me in the past, and I'm like, this guy's just doing it again. And you in your head, it's like, hey Mike, I had work, I had an emergency meeting, I have to take this, we'll go tomorrow. But for me, I take it super personal and then I attack you, but you don't even know where it's coming from because it's one event that triggered a trauma for me. So same thing in relationship. It's like, based on my past experience, my value, and even though no matter how you think you're healed, sometime it will show up when there's a pain point. So she might do something, it triggers something that is only your perception, because I'm looking at an image for one part, you're looking from the other, a vision. So it's really cool to approach it like that. And that's what I was telling my client this morning. I'm like, don't make an accusation. It's important that when you say something, you say it in a way that, hey, first, I'm sorry if I made you feel that way, but that's my perception of this specific situation is that you did that, or that I feel like that when you do that. And am I right, or is there something else? And by asking a question like that, and make taking the blame for whatever it is, you're disarming the other person, and it creates a great communication. And I think is the key for great relationship. It's like there's no need to be fight if we talk about stuff and we're transparent. And the hard part is it's easy to do it when it's easy, but when the feelings are hard, or when it's a topic that doesn't necessarily please the other person, that's when you have to be more honest. And I know for a fact, like I was talking with one of my friend, a guy, and he wanted to have threesome with his girl, or he wanted to sleep with other girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you gotta say how you feel. Like, you don't have to apologize for how you feel. And if ever it's not what she wants and that's what you want, then you take a decision based on that. Am I staying or am I leaving? But the thing is, there's a way that you can approach and say why you feel like a certain way, and why do you feel like you want certain things. And it might not be standard in society that guys want that, or your relationship is your relationship, your
Amen.
business is your business. So whatever you feel, it's important that you communicate. And a lot of people, they push down those feelings, and that's why men and women, we cheat. That's why people cheat, because you keep pushing down feeling, and at some point you cross a barrier that you shouldn't cross, just because when we look back, you were holding those feelings for so long, and now you acted based on emotion.
That's
So
exactly right. And Mike, that
I
happens in
honor you
business.
for that.
Thank you. But it happens in business the same way. You'll have a partner and it's exact same scenario. Like you said, they just won't say things, and they let it build and they let it build. And the next thing you know, you're having this fucking huge blow up over something that you're like, are you kidding me? If you wanted to tell me you had a threesome, I'd have been like all in, let's go. But yet, they're so fucking scared to talk about it that it's like they blow the business up. You know what I'm saying? I'm mixing analogies, but you get my point. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes we think people are going to think a certain way, when reality is they need to set with it. They need time. But when we're not transparent, we put it all, we cancel all of it out. And we carry that energy so bad. I hate that so much. And I'll tell you a true story that happened to me. I was at a big event, and this guy, that he was a high profile individual, and I looked up to him a lot. He came up to me in the middle of a conversation. He was in a rush. I could tell he was in a rush. And he asked me for my phone number and said, let's catch up after. I said, great. Type my phone number in his phone. Mike, I screwed the phone number up. I would never do that intentionally, right? I mean, I didn't care if the dude had my number, right? So I never get this call. Finally, I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, man, just wanted to let you know, like, I care. I just never heard from you, everything like that. Is everything okay? And man, he was pissed. He was like, you put your number in my phone wrong. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I would never do that. Like, in fact, I was excited about talking to you. He was so angry for so long. I finally, I'm like, dude, just get on the phone with me. Got on the phone with him. I'm like, hey, look, man, cleared it all up, and now we're great friends. But like, his mindset was, like you said, he had another thing happen. So he thought I was just like shafting him, and I put a digit wrong in his phone. I was like, oh, I also had another guy. Like, I deleted him off my social media. It wasn't me. My social media manager did, because there was no activity. Gets rid of them. They're bent out of shape. And instead of reaching out, it's like, bro, I know you wouldn't do this. We're buddies. Add me back. I was like, like, people, like, don't be so damn sensitive. Like, I love everybody and I want you to be there. Like, if you know me,
Yeah.
God, just be up front. I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah, and that's very important. Like you said, it's like I remember one situation, I was helping a client, and he was like, "I think I'm gonna leave. I think I'm gonna quit this business." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's going on?" And then he explained me the situation, and then I started laughing. I'm like, "Bro, that's it? Like that's the whole thing?" I'm like, "Bro, I think you've been so focused on it for so long that you don't see that it's a little thing." And he's like, "What you mean?" And then he makes this whole story, and that's what we're good at. We're good at telling ourselves a story about stuff. And then I'm like, why don't we make a plan, and you go see your business partner and you're going to say those exact words that I'm going to phrase for you? And he's like, he's never going to agree. And then he's like, he tell me that he has my speech, and then he has three other option of I'm quitting, you got to break the contract, I'm gonna sue your ass or whatever. And then I called him the week after. I'm like, how is he? He's like, bro, it's so good. He agreed right away. I'm like, I didn't expect that. And I'm like, I'm like, see, man, you had that because some ex-partners screw him over, so
Yeah.
then brings that in relationship, business or relationship or whatever, you bring that. And then it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do. I still have contract with my friend, I still have contract with client, I'm still backed up on everything, and there's a reason I explained that, hey, it's just to protect me legally. But then it doesn't mean that I come up to every relationship with a sour taste in my mouth. Like, let's talk about it, and if the person says something, then we'll think about what's the next move and how to respond to that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go with expectation, and it's the expectation that makes us. At the beginning, he didn't even want to talk to his partner. He was like, I'm just gonna call him, text him that we're done, and I'm gonna leave. And I'm like, bro, relax, like it's not so big of a deal, we'll just talk it through. And then his partner was like, yeah, for sure, anything you need. So it's like, I'm like, see, there's great partner that exists, but
Yeah.
same thing with great relationship. You can break them if you keep everything inside and you build that story for yourself. And yeah, I totally agree with you. And what would be like your main advice? Like, I one tip that you we were talking on the phone that I didn't even think about, and maybe you have other business tip that you can say to people, but you told me that you dress people, like you have certain suits and outfit for conference, let's say, and you were like, bro, sometime up to 12 outfit to play with the emotion and the mood and stuff. So that was like something new for me. I know I dress good, but I didn't expect to change 12 times. So can you tell us a little bit more about that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make it quick for you. So I get the privilege of dressing people that speak on big stages. So a lot of you may know Russell Brunson, and I've dressed him now. This will be the 6th year at Funnel Hacking Live. And so when we're thinking through our events, or we're thinking through our podcast, or we're thinking through anything, right? We want to start to think about what's the perception we want people to have of us, and are we approachable, non-approachable, all the things. So when I look at an event, I look at what's the background colors. What are you going to be, Vice? What's going to be back there? And so do we need to be solid colors, or do we need to be a little brighter? And then at the very beginning, what is our whole stance? So like with Russell, if you go look, you'll see when he comes out, the very first time he hits the stage, I want him to look like a rock star, untouchable. Like he's just bam, he just big presence, because he's the key of the show, right? And we want to anchor that at the very beginning. But then you'll notice that after he's been on the stage for a second, we transition. So we need to change outfits, because we don't want to be that rock star power player anymore. We want to get into learning and training mode. So to do that, we dress him down, because what you expect from a teacher is totally different than you expect from a rock star. But we don't think through that psychology when we're thinking about our presentations and how we dress and how we style ourselves. So then we dress him that way. But then when we get to a pitch, we're also sold by a different person. A teacher doesn't sell you. So we have to dress him differently. We restyle him for the pitch. Then when we get after the pitch, we want to be friends. So our friends dress different than what they do as a rock star versus a teacher versus all of this. So we have to dress him to where he's very approachable. He's very much a friend. And there's other things that we do throughout. Like, so let's say who's going to be in the audience with him that needs pictures, who's coming on the stage with him. We need to take all those things into account too, because, depending on that, if it's Dan Kennedy, then we always know that Dan's going to wear something different than Russell's going to wear, but if it's Russell Brunson, if it's Tony Robbins, for example, he's going to be in all black. We can almost 99% guarantee he's going to wear a lucky hat, and he's going to be in all black. So we need to style according to that, so that they don't look like twins on the stage. And it's like, here's this guy and here's this guy, like all these things. So you got to think through who you're going to be in photos with. Then when we give these awards away, you can see that they all have gold in them and black. They also have silver in them. So when you're standing in thousands of pictures that are going to be all over the internet, literally, we need to style him according to those things, because that's what he's going to reflect every second with those people when they're getting all those photos. Lots to think about in events, lots to think about when you're styling somebody, but I get that privilege to do that. I love it. It's so much fun, in my life to do that and have that honor. In fact, Chris Crone, Russell, a few of us are all going shopping on the 19th of August in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it should be fun.
That's awesome. And you told me that some colors sell more than other. Like, let's say I'm making a webinar. What color should I wear? How would you dress? Like, give a little tips for. Let's say I'll use those tips even and for webinar, for social media, for people that want to have a present. What would be your advice?
My advice would be, depending on your audience, I would cater that. So let's say that, Mike, you're talking predominantly to men. Darker colors will work really well. They convert really well. The color you're in now is a great color for men. If you were talking to women and men, I would not have you in that at all. If you're talking to strictly women, I would not have you in that at all. So it depends on your audience, and who it is will depend upon what we do in colors and how well they respond to your colors. So for your color, it's very male dominant with a bright color of the stuff behind that, right? But still very dominant, masculine type of feel. Okay. So I'm assuming you're talking to a lot of men. But if you had a woman walk in your office, there are things with you, I would soften you. I would put you. So the number one color that we use, if you want it for men and women, clothing wise, is light blue. Because light
Yeah, I love
blue,
light blue.
yeah, it's awesome. Light blue really resonates with women and their soft side. It also resonates with men, that you're still masculine. So light blue is the bet, in my opinion, and the stuff that we've done, the research we've done, the number one closing color. So if you look, we always try to be in a light blue type of a shirt, something to that nature. If you were talking to more feminine energy, I would start to put you in lighter pinks, things like that. I do love that you're in a solid color, because it allows that with your color behind there, the camera, what we forget is the more bright things that we have on, if we also had that other color like you had behind you, the camera doesn't know where to focus, and it's got so many
Yeah,
things, and neither does the eye. So what happens in style is that I want to look at something. So if you look at my outfit right now, I'm having you look at one thing, and I'm sure you can guess it's the hat, the American flag.
yeah,
You feel very
yeah.
American. It's very male dominant. I figured your audience is male. So instantly, if I wear this, I'm going to attract that male, like, hell yeah, let's go America. He's got the camouflage on, which reminds me of military. You see what I'm saying? Think through all
Yeah,
those things. It instantly brings that out in them. They're like, I like this guy because of the way he dresses. He resonates with me. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
so glasses, I don't know if you know, but if you wear glasses in a clothes, your sales percentage goes up by 30%.
Oh
Why?
yeah,
I don't know, but they've done a whole bunch of studies on if you wear glasses or don't wear glasses. 99% of my life, I don't wear glasses, but I had LASIK surgery done. So now I don't, but I still love glasses. So you'll see me at a lot of events. I'll have really fancy Tom Ford glasses on, different things like that, because when I'm in that sales mode or I'm doing certain things, the percentage goes higher. So for you, I would have a few different frames to frame your face up. That you could do anyway, lots of stuff that way. But for you, the pop of color in your focus right now is obviously your chest, because that's where the color comes in. That's where the eye is is gonna see your face. It's gonna see all that right there. So if we wanted to change that, would do different things accordingly. But that's your focus piece right now. So
that's
you want to just
awesome.
think through that kind of stuff. That's I don't know if that
What about
helped.
like the color red? Like, let's say I wear red. Is it aggressive? Like, what do
Yeah.
you think about it?
Yeah, if you're trying to make a point and really get it across and you're with a big group of guys, it'd be worth it. If you were doing that with women, they would all just run off crying and be like, "No, I don't like this dude." Like, so like you want to use colors in there. What does red always mean? Like if you use it in real life, we're taught red is emergency, red is stop, red is these things. So you can't, people like, well, I'm going to change that. I'm going to defy it. I don't care. Go for it. Like, I mean, you can say what you want, but I mean, people are always like, I don't need to worry about this. This is a bunch of rubbish. And I'm like, okay, well, if a police officer walked in today, right now, walked in this office and told us to stand to attention, I'm not going to go, officer, before I do anything, I'm going to call the ID and make sure that you're really a true cop. So can I get your badge number, please? Thank you. Let me call. Oh, he is real. Oh, that I'll take attention. I mean, we don't do that shit.
Yeah,
Like, we're instantly responding because we have been taught from a very young age what certain colors do to us, how to act to them, what certain humans do, how they present themselves. If a guy's in a suit, is he a banker? Is he a lawyer? All these things go through our head, and we always are prejudging because we've been taught that from TV. It's just been embedded in us. So you can fight it or you can understand it and embrace it. For me, I just teach people to be aware of it. I style them accordingly so that success can be theirs. That's it.
and do you feel like talking? But now we talked about color. Now let's talk about, let's say, style. So would you feel like online when people do social media, they should be, I dress very casual and I'm like, I do business, but I dress very casual. Cause for me, I'm like, I want to be a relaxed entrepreneur, not because I made million that I want to dress in a suit. I know a lot of people say dress in a suit.
Hmm.
In my head, I'm like, whatever makes, because we were talking about persona on the phone. Like for me, whatever makes your ego or that persona that you need come up. So if
Yep.
you need a suit to feel that confidence that boom,
Yep.
I'm here, then
Yep.
wear a suit and do your stuff with a suit. That's how I feel. If you can be like, you wouldn't see Mark Zuckerberg or even Elon Musk in a suit because they have the presence with relaxed flow. They don't need to show off anything. Some people love the suit, some people don't care. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah. My opinion is it depends on how you feel and where you're at. Like your energy is everything, just like we talked about. Like if I feel very uncomfortable in that situation, then no, I'm not going to do it. But I will tell you, for me personally, right, if I were going to do some certain big deals, I'm going to dress according to that. Like I probably wouldn't show up like on here, for example. Yeah, my nickname's a $1 billion cowboy, but you didn't see me show up in my cowboy hat, my Western shirt, and my buckle on, because at the end of the day, most of the people out there are not going to relate to that person like they'll relate to who I am, if that makes sense. Now, if we did another show together and they started to get to know me, then yeah, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go. I'm going to put my cowboy hat on, maybe that badass cowboy today, and they'd be totally okay with that. So it depends on if it's your first impression with your audience or if it's an established impression on what you can do to dress. But at the same time, I've looked at a lot of your clothing, I've looked at a lot of your stuff, and it's very branded. So there's a certain brands that we all know that mean certain status. So you're doing status with brands, not just going to Walmart and wearing clothes is what I'm trying to say. I mean, it would make you feel totally different. I promise you. Even if I took that shirt off, went and got you a Walmart shirt and brought it to you and say, okay, wear this today, you'd be like, yeah, it's okay. I'd rather not, because your image would still feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's the same type of thing. So you are doing it. You're just throwing your status through different types of brands and things like a lucky hat. It makes a status. It makes a statement. We all know what that hat costs. We know what it means. You see what I'm saying? So you are
Yeah.
doing it. You're just not doing it. You may not call it a suit, but some of your outfits you're wearing cost as much as most people's suits do that are on the lower end. Let's be clear. So it's like, are there other
Yeah.
things that I would do with you? Yeah, I'd probably be looking for you in watches, in certain jewelry pieces. I would look for certain talking pieces that I would make an iconic thing for you. So there's things like that that I would start to ingrain in your style. But hey, you've done a phenomenal job. You're just doing it in a different way. You're taking that power. I don't know if that helped, but yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm just trying to because I know that's a thing that a lot of men have trouble dressing. I think when I wasn't dressing so good until my first girlfriend was like starting to show me style, and then I just pick up my own style. But a lot of girls are always telling me that I dress nice and I have good like sense of fashion and this and that. And I see a lot of people might have question regarding this. Like I never thought about teaching that to men, and that's what you do. So I wanted them to have concrete tips that they can apply, and it's very interesting. And yeah, at the end of the day, I feel good how I do things. I love wearing a suit. Like I feel uncomfortable in them, but I love looking fucking flawless because
Right.
like you said, the suit is often like, when I was a kid, I wanted to become a lawyer, so I associated. I'm making my girl watch Suits right now, which is a lawyer show. It's my
Yep.
favorite show. I decided not to be a lawyer because I wanted freedom of movement. But it's like powerful lawyer, boom, Harvey Specter. I'm coming in with a suit, so that's how I feel when I dress up.
Yeah.
But for comfort, most of the time, like you said, yeah, I wear a hat like that, some watches, some stuff like that's kind of my way of doing it, I guess. For the like, if you know, you know about the hat. If you don't, you don't, and it
That's
doesn't
right.
make a difference for me. Same thing with an AP. If you know what's an AP and you want to wear it, or Richard Mille or whatever, like people that know, and the rest, I do it for me. But
Yep.
like you said, as long as the person feel good, and that's what's really cool. I love the input, and I wear a lot of blue. I was wearing red for some stuff, so I'm gonna be, because a lot of people told me that red was my color, like for some reason, and energetically, just because it's a solid grounding color.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, I'll be careful not to wear it on too much selling pitch or whatever. I'll tone it down.
I would tone that down. I go to a light blue for you. Also, whites will do really well on you and make you pop. But the cool part you've got going for you is you've got a good physique to fit to. And remember, guys, if you don't have a great physique, that's okay. A tailor can make you look great. Don't clothes are not made off the shelf to fit you. If you go look at every mannequin in every place, they always pin the mannequin. Okay. They're always tailoring the
Yeah.
mannequin. You got to remember that a tailor is your best friend, and a really good tailor can make you look really, really good. Also, remember, a lot of guys say, well, I'm too heavy right now to go shop with you. It's like, fuck that. I can always take things and make them smaller. I just can't make them bigger.
Yeah.
A tailor can always size down. So go shop, buy the expensive stuff as you make that journey. It's okay. There's no reason to wait. Just get a really good tailor that can take care of that process as you go. Also, you've got to think about the outfits. Anyway, I could spend all day on this, but reality is there's so much here as men that we can capitalize on and really use to our advantage. Even down to how they style their hair. Look at your face shape. If we look at Mike's face shape right now, he's got a deep set eye. So his deep set eye, the reason glasses will help him is because he's like me. If you look at my eyes, they're very back in my, and that happens because of testosterone. So men have this problem, but lighting becomes an issue because see how dark your eyes become and how much light we can't
Yeah.
get in there. So the darker color you're using, you need more light on you to light up your eyes so that I can see your eyes. So right now, if you see how it shadows and the hats, they don't help us. But if instantly when I go
Yeah.
like this, see what happens? So my face shape's different. My eyes look totally different and I get way more light. So that's why glasses can help you a ton. But you need to understand some face shapes. You need to understand different things like that. And then when you put your style together, you need to understand what you're styling for. And then anyway, we'll spend more time on this later. But
I
anyway,
love it. That's really, really interesting, cool stuff. Like any other tip that or question that I didn't ask you today that you would love to talk about? Like I know you're very valuable information in business. Is anything that you can add? It can be multiple stuff in order to help people. Like people want to be successful in business or like some concrete stuff that you can tell them like do this and this is what I would do.
okay. Yeah. Number one thing for me that I've had to learn the hard way is exactly what Mike's been hitting a lot on in here is you've got to take care of you. I know that you think it's all about the business, but reality is it's about you. And I'm here to tell you, the more energetic and the more presence you have, the more people want to work with you. When you're the guy that shows up and you're like so tired and you're like physically like exhausted and you're just not getting your rest and things like that, it is hard. Like you might be brilliant, but I'm telling you, people they're attracted to high energy people. I mean, let me just tell you, if Mike and I were going on a trip and I was the dude that was always like, what's next, Mike? Okay, bro, like I think we should, he's gonna be like, dude, that's the last trip you're ever going on. But if I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Let's go. He's like, this is fun. And if I'm
Yeah.
having fun and I'm energetic, he's like, you know what, dude? What kind of business are you? What can we do? It's like, because I just want to be around it. It's contagious. It's fun. So I just want you to don't be a fun hater in life. So if I can give you one piece of advice, don't be a fun hater in life. And remember, life is happening for you, not to you. Life is
Yeah.
happening for you, not to you. So remember, be present, live in the moment, have fun right now, but always be working on this. Do the cold plunges, meditate, get real with yourself, and big visions start to happen. Dream big. If you do have a dream, get a vision board. Put it in front of you. Building a vision board and setting aside doesn't work. Put it in front of you. Always carry. So I have accountability calls every single day. So they're 5 days a week. They're 10-minute calls. On those accountability calls, everybody that shows up has to state their why. Know your why. Know why you're getting out of bed every single day is the most critical thing that you can do for yourself. So create a really good why. Number two, understand when you get on those accountability calls, what are you accountable for that day? What's the one domino you just need to knock over that day to be successful for that month? Okay. And then understand your monthly goal, your weekly goals, and just go after those daily tasks and then write those tasks down, put them on your computer, and until it's gone, then crumple it up, throw it in the garbage. Okay. And then get yourself an I am bracelet. And then every time you see it, say, I am superior. I am tough. I am fucking good looking. I am a king. I am always wear that I am bracelet, right? And if you don't love yourself, and I've done this in my life, so I'm not above it. Let me just tell you this. Go on your mirror in your bathroom, grab some lipstick, and say, I love you. And then you get your ass in that bathroom every day when you're brushing your teeth in the morning and at night or whenever else you walk in there to use that bathroom. You look at that and you look at yourself in the face and you tell yourself you love yourself 10 times. And then you need to say the same thing, that I'm good enough. The number one thing we fight in this world today is we do not feel loved. You don't feel loved. And if you can't
Yeah.
feel loved, no one else is going to love you. So love yourself, be patient with yourself, be high energy, get your morning stuff straightened out so where your day and you're eating right and you're a high performer, and then get out there and crush it. Your wife will love it, or your significant other, and so will the people you're surrounded with, your business people, and it will rise you to a higher vibration, and you'll be around amazing humans like Mike. So that's it. There's my rant.
That's amazing, man. I love it. And one thing I want to ask, like a lot of people, and you can give your own answer. A lot of people ask me, why do I do cold bath, and why do I meditate, and am I grateful? And I have this gratitude journal which I created. It's mine, and I do gratitude. I also in it I have like the thing. So I'll be like, I am enough, I am worthy, I am love, I'm abundant.
Oh, I love
So
that.
I use the I am, you have to have 5 a day. I put it in there. I also have a mind movie, 20 minute of kaleidoscope. And then I recorded myself saying, I am love, I am enough. I repeat it. And then there's picture of travel, boats,
Yeah.
jet, whatever I want, materialistic stuff, traveling, picture of my dog, my girl.
Love it.
And all that stuff, a lot of people see it as a waste of time. They're like, why should I do that? Why should I go in the cold plunge? What's your intake on that? Is it a waste of time, or does it worth taking the time to do that?
Well, I think you know now by the answer is it's 100% worth doing it, but why should you do it is the big thing right here. Because I find the same thing. There's a lot of people are like, are you kidding me? You spend 2 hours in the morning, da, 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 all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, I do. And then I go to them, I say, where are you at in life? And they go, well, I fight this, I fight that, I fight. Okay, that's why you do it. Because you need a way to be able to be grounded every single day and to be present with yourself to attract these things in your life. Now, it may sound out there woo woo. Like my favorite thing right now I do is brain tap. I don't know if you've, I mean, I don't get
I
into
know it. Yeah.
it, but I love brain tap because it's so easy, that neuro, like anything I can have an edge up on the world, I'm going to do it. Okay. Because I know it only takes this little thing that makes big things happen. Okay. So for me, I know if I get up and I do a cold plunge, I first and foremost, I've overcome my mind, right? And our mind's powerful.
Yeah.
My mind will say, no, that's crazy. This is so wrong. But that's a belief I've installed somewhere along the way that I do not know is true. So therefore, if I can beat that belief, I can delete and beat other beliefs. So by doing that, I'm instantly proving to myself when shit gets hard or that belief, I can overcome it and I can win. So that's number one. Number two, when I meditate, it gives me the ability to allow myself to be me. And one thing that we don't do enough because we have so much technology and so many things going on is we don't know how to be quiet with ourselves. We don't know how to be calm and in nature. And so it helps you with that. It helps you have your time to be quiet. Well, I can't calm my mind down. Don't. Just be present with yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah.
It'll work. But the reason I do it, and I think it's 100% worth it, is because you deserve it. Because you deserve
Yeah.
it. That's why.
Yeah.
And you deserve
That's
that time
amazing.
for you. And nobody else, nothing else. Do it just for you. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Tony that was saying that, or somebody was like, if you don't have 10 minutes to meditate, you don't have a life. Like, if you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, you don't have a life. And like, that's the reality. It's to ground yourself, to remind yourself. And it's really hard when you focus on being grateful and all those beautiful stuff in the morning. And like you said, you've been doing cold bath for a while. I've been doing cold bath for a while. There's not a single morning that I'm excited. It's not like having sex. It's like, fuck, I'm gonna do this shit again. Again, I'm gonna today I should skip it. I'm already rich. But
Totally.
it's just like we're all human, and it's just to um, prove to your mind that you're in charge. And that's why I do it. And another thing that I want to add is the accountability and the call and the stuff. And I, as a coach, and I know you're a coach, and I've seen a study, and it's been proven that once you tell people that you're going to do something, it increase by 65% your chance of success. And once you actually commit and you have a partner or a coach that you're going to see on a regular basis, it actually increased the rate of success by 98%, which is kind of a major deal. So it's like, I know a lot of people are like, Why should I have a mentor? Why should I have a coach? Why should it could be a friend? It could be whatever you want. If you can't afford to pay for high performance coach, accountability coach, whatever right now, that's okay. Grab a friend that you
Exactly.
both take it up to each other. You go to the gym together, you call each other out. It's like, hey, did you fail on this? Did you do this? You're not supposed to game. You're supposed to. I still do it with friends. Like,
Yep.
if I used to be a gamer, so if I have one day that I'm gaming and they see me on and I'm not supposed, they're like, yo, what are you doing here? Like, it's time to get off the game. And I'm like, fuck. And then I feel
Yep.
bad gaming. I'm like, oh, it's like, even though I didn't game, it's like we said that we wouldn't. And
Yep.
then they have to be there for you. And it's very important. And I love that you do those calls. It's super powerful. So to end the podcast, can you tell them like where they can find you? What's your IG handle? If they would love to be coached by you, if they would love to be dressed by you,
Yeah.
do we say dress in English or suit? Whatever the word it is in English, but where can they find you?
You're too kind, Mike. First and foremost, thank you for having me. And you can find me on Instagram at Bart Allen. And the Allen is spelled different. So it's ALLAN Miller underscore. But Bart Allen Miller, find me on Instagram. As far as that goes, I think everything's there. But like, if I can help you and bless your life, I'm happy to do it. If not, we'll find somebody who can help you and bless your life. And if you're not being coached by Mike, I encourage you to get out there and get that done. I mean, take your game to the next level. And I just love your world. And so I'm going to get that journal. I'm like so stoked that you showed that to me. I'm like, I can't sleep until I get one of those in my hands. I'm super excited about that. And what an awesome podcast. Thanks for having me. And thanks for letting me just rant and be part of your world, man.
Thanks for coming, man. You're exactly the type of person that I look up to, and you're amazing. You're even though you're 50, you're still on your game. You're still like life has so much more to offer, and you're ready to get it. Like there's so much beauty in this world, and you know that, like you said, it doesn't need to be there. But if it's there, why shouldn't I just take it? And I love to see that. I wish you all the best, and I'm glad that we connected. And you represent what I call abundance because all your aspect of your life are exactly where you want them to be. It's all a 10 on 10. And remember, guys, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And Bart is doing everything on the top of the game. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for your tip. And guys, go follow him. And I'll see you in another podcast.
See you guys.